Hey everyone, this is Rob from Audio Design School, and I'm going to show you a quick tip today on how to widen something or simulate widening something into the stereo field to give you a little more separation on your mixes. So what we have here is we have a guitar track, and it's just mono. I'm just going to play it, nothing fancy. Okay, so let's say I want to take this and I want to make it wider. Right now, if you look here at my panner, it's just straight up center. And again, as I explained in our video series, Music Production Masterclass for Beginners, we talk about keeping kick, snare, and lead vocals and bass generally, as a rule, panned straight center. And then everything else, ideally, we want to kind of move it around, give it its own space in the stereo field. So we could take this guitar track if we just wanted to have it be the one track, and we could pan it off maybe to the left here like this. Okay, or we could move it right. But what if we wanted to double it and make two of them and have them sound wider, have both of them playing one panned hard left and the other panned hard right, which is kind of a common production and mixing technique for multiple guitar tracks. Now, ideally, what we would do, is we would record a second part that's more or less the same as this. Because whenever you play two parts, even if you're playing the same part, you're going to play them with a little bit different approach, maybe slightly different subtleties, and then you can pan those left and right. But let's say you just don't have time to do that, or you don't want to do it, you just want to take this single track and make it wider. Now, we do have the option of using a widener plugin, which just takes the signal and kind of spreads it out as you want it. And that works fine. Let me go ahead and I'm going to try that real quick and show you what that sounds like. Okay, so I've loaded up a plugin called the Ozone Imager. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the Stereoize button and bring this up, and then you'll start to hear as I adjust the width, it'll start to sound wider and you'll actually see it as well. So let me show you what that sounds like. And I'll take it out. Okay, so that's nice. It's subtle. I use this pretty regularly on things that I'm not really wanting to double, but just to widen out. That's where something like this comes in handy. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this. And I'm going to show you another way. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take this track right here, this audio track, and I'm going to copy it. In the case of Nuendo on the Mac, it's Option, click, and drag to copy. Okay, so now we've got two of them. Now they're both panned straight up center, or this one is not, but let me do that. Okay, so if I play it, it's an exact replica, so it's just going to be louder. And even if I pan one to the left and one to the right, because they are exactly the same, you won't hear it in the stereo field. It'll just sound the same. Okay, but here's a little quick trick. If you want to do something like this, what you do is you zoom way in on it, and you take one. See, their phase is exactly, they're identical. You just take one of them and move it just a little bit so that they're out of phase. Now listen. Maybe a little bit more. Okay, I'll put it back. Now let's do it again. See, and it doesn't sound doubled. It only sounds like doubled, like slapback, if you move it to an extreme. Even that's okay. So if we go like this, see, now it's starting to sound like slapback, which in this case is not what we want, although you can do that. So I get it just far enough where it really widens out, but it doesn't sound like slapback. Hear how cool that is? Let's hear the difference again. This is phase aligned. Sounds like it's coming straight up out of the center. Now we'll move it again. Again, we're panned left hard and right hard, and we just moved it out of phase alignment. Copied it and moved it out of phase alignment just a little bit, and we've got suddenly what sounds like 2 guitar tracks, one left and one right. And then if you wanted to go further, you could do some processing. You might want to throw some sort of a compressor on one of them, or a tone like an amp simulator or something like that. Maybe you're going to put amp simulators on both of these, but you would use a different patch, and then it would really sound like 2 just completely differently recorded guitar parts playing in stereo left and right. So that's a quick tip for the day, just a way to make things sound more wide and add some extra width to your mix. You can do this with vocals, backing vocals, generally not lead vocals. I mean, unless you're going for a special effect where you want a doubled sound, you can do that. But I tend to do this sometimes on backing vocals. I will do it on guitar, and there's occasionally other little maybe keyboard tracks or something like that that are mono, or that are just kind of sound like they're just lonely playing by themselves, and I want to stereo and widen them out a little bit. So be creative and experiment with this, but it's a quick way to make something sound like it's doubled and panned off left and right without having to re-record it. Hope this was helpful, and we'll see you again soon.